All right. We give God the praise, for he is good. I'm speaking on show him who you are. When I was growing up, stories were very important in my life. And one of the most important stories I remember is how I got here. My mother and father were parents of 2 boys, 9 years apart. But as my mother would tell it, she had to have a girl. So she prayed. God answered, and Lisa was born. So stories were also very important to learn about the history of my family, because I didn't get to know my grandparents and so many that had gone on before. And I learned that we had a rich history. That was special to me. As I went on going to school, I was a part of everything that I could get into. It was sports, it was music, of course, speech and drama, acting, social justice, all the things. And then it was at school also where I learned that nobody cared. Kids were very easy to tell me, we don't like the way you look, the way you talk, the way you walk, the usual things. And I thought to myself, don't they know who I am? So as I continued through being with my family, I got more education, of course, through church and at home, learning that I was created for a purpose, created for a reason. And as that went on, got many great opportunities to sing, of course, but to do other things and just really appreciate the gifts that God has given us in this world. But there's always somebody, the enemy, trying to remind us, you're not what you think you are. You're not who you think God told you could be. And we tend for some reason to believe that over what's already been written in the Word. But as I went on, one of the things I enjoyed doing was driving. So at 16, I was excited. Where you want to go, Mama? So we drove everywhere, brought her to her errands, and that was always a fun thing to do. And one particular day, as I was leaving with my mom to run errands, got to the corner of our house, and my brother, who was playing with his friends, playing football, he was there, and like a kid, I poked my tongue at him because I was driving. And Mom said we would be back, and he said, okay, see you later. But what we didn't know is that that would be the last time that we would see him. So we continued to drive and take care of errands, and my mother said, I need to go home because I need to get a prescription to get it filled. And I said, Mom, they already have you in the system. You don't need that. No, I need to go home. She insisted, so we went home. When I turned the corner, that was something that changed our lives forever. There were lights everywhere on the corner of our home, and we stopped at our home and just sat in the car. Somebody came to tell us what happened, and we were, of course, shocked. But my mother said, something happened to my son. And as we continued to wait and look, I saw someone running to the corner while he was on crutches. That was my oldest brother. I saw my father go to the corner, hurt, broken, and angry to see what had happened to his son. Needless to say, that was a big day. We went inside, a lot of family gathered, and waited to find out what had happened. I only heard him breathing. They didn't want me to see him as he was, but to remember him the way I did. And 12:46 a.m., the phone rang. My mother screamed. He was gone. He was 26 years old. He was a father of 2, under 6. He was a husband and the brother that I never got to grow up with. But needless to say, I had to be the adult and help my mother and father grieve, which was a turning point in my life. Always mature, but at that point, really grown up. So time went on, years went on, of course, as families do. You move on, you still love, you still remember, but you still fight. Still was encouraged to do everything that I wanted to do. Got to travel internationally, got to sing as well locally, and just do a lot of things. But then there still was the time when you would be reminded, you didn't do that. You didn't get to fulfill that. And as time went on, the enemy would want me to feel, it's too late. You took care of your mom for 20 years of your life till she was 92. She would be 102 tomorrow. You don't have anything left. But then I remembered, I love movies, and I love the inspiration of the Woman King, Wakanda Forever. And so I remember in the movie when the fight happened, and Chadwick Boseman was getting ready to try to become king. And in that process, he was about to lose. It was all over. But he looked over at his mother, and she said to him, show him who you are. He regained his strength. He won and became King T'Challa. So those words are one of the things that ring in my mind. The enemy may tell me a lot of things, but I hear, show him who you are. Because God created you fearfully and wonderfully. He created me and my mom and dad before I was even a thought. He already knew I was coming. He knows who I am. So I say to you, as you continue with all the things that you're doing, don't forget to say those words in your head. I got to show him who I am. I have gifts. I have talents. One day I was going home from school and a young boy just felt like he had to pick on me. He threatened all kinds of things. I'm just going to do this to you. I'm going to do that. You know, I got frustrated. We all walked home from school. And I stopped and I said, you know, if you kill me, I'm just going to heaven early. And I was really upset. And he stopped, but he kept on. He took a large, rusty pole and was coming towards me as if he was throwing a javelin. But something happened. He didn't know who I was. He dropped that pole. And as he turned the other way, he was still saying, I'm going to do this and do that. Yeah, but you're going the other way. And as we continue going with what we know, I simply say to you, as my mother would always say, what God has for you, it is for you. I know without a doubt that he will bring me out. What God has for me, it is for me. Show him who you are.